Welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But tonight, we are not oval racing. Tonight, we are Roval racing for the final road course of the season here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League Tuesday Night Truck Series. Drivers are just wrapping up practice, and as they do, we are getting ready to watch quite a bit of action. The Roval usually provides I would say the most action out of any road course. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host, Tom Richter.
Good evening, Arie. Happy Tuesday to you, and happy Tuesday to everybody out there in YouTube watching these drivers, the field of 21, about getting ready to make their way around the Charlotte Roval. And it's a little bit different of a layout of the Charlotte Roval than what the drivers are accustomed to. We're running the new Charlotte Roval with that treacherous turn number 7 on the infield there, and all these drivers are talking about the very real possibility of getting caught up into some trouble down there.
Certainly the case, especially with just how tricky the interior part of this track is. And when I say interior, I mean kind of that infield section after you turn off of the oval and you kind of go through that weird double back section in the middle, which actually nowadays looks different from the original logo that they had that we see on screen there. But nonetheless, it's a lot of track that wasn't really intended for these cars to drive on. I think that's safe to say, Tom. And it was later configured to just, make it work. But it's a lot of weird angles. It's a lot of kind of off-camber, on-camber, weird sorts of dips and divots and all of that. And when you're racing wheel-to-wheel with somebody, it gets really sketchy.
It absolutely does, as we're going to follow around here as drivers have just about 2.5 minutes remaining out in open practice. We're on board, taking a look out the rear deck lid of Paxton Frith right now, and yeah, they're going to come down into some very weird corners, Arie. It's almost like this is a 1.5 mile track oval. All the other road courses that we go to don't have the designation of also an oval as well, so these drivers are going to have some work to do on these vehicles out here this evening. Paxton Frith currently looks like he's going to be 13th on the board through opening practice, and trying to pick up a spot or two in the remaining laps there.
Yeah, I haven't, this is actually a really interesting insight right here, Tom. This newer portion of the track, when they kind of reconfigured it, I've actually not raced it yet myself. I'm only familiar with kind of the older layout, so I don't even really have much input into how that really races. But what I do know is that really tight hairpin back there, that reminds me so much of the Daytona road course, and that being one of the most infamous parts of that track.
Absolutely, and now Paxton's going to come down into the tricky chicane on the backstretch, and I believe they tightened this up a little bit as well. I believe they made this a little bit tighter for these drivers, as Paxton's going to come through for his last couple of laps of practice. But yeah, I mean, we talk about road course specialists out here, Arie. Greg Mitchell trying to set a record out here tonight, and that's something that hasn't been done before here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. So some drivers have figured it out, while other drivers are just happy to stay on the pavement.
Certainly the case. Tonight, Greg Mitchell looks to score his 6th road course victory in as many attempts. He's currently tied with Michael Berg for the Cyber Thunder Racing League record of 5 for 5 at road courses. Tonight is either the night of history, or somebody gets up there and puts their name in the box as the one who dethroned Mr. Mitchell.
Well, don't look too far just yet, because Greg Mitchell is being chased by Matt Semple right now with a 125 to a 125.6. Probably the closest that we've ever seen anybody. And if you think back a couple of weeks, Arie, at Watkins Glen, who did those last 10 laps include? It included Ed Jurgen, who's 3rd. It included Andrew Caldwell, who's currently 5th on the board, Matt Semple 2nd, and Greg Mitchell, who's currently at the top of the chart. So the names are very familiar when we come to a road course.
That they are, and Greg's going to be hoping he doesn't repeat that a little bit later on. But it's time for practice to come to a close. Greg Mitchell officially going to top the boards in practice with a 125.58. Let's see if he can replicate that here in qualifying, given we're at a road course. As always, qualifying gets a little bit longer. We've got 10 minutes, plenty of time for these drivers to get out on track and set their 2 laps.
Matt Semple looks like he's going to be rolling, one of the first to roll off a pit road in that number 16 Chevy Silverado, the Alto Construction out of Orangeville, Ontario. Out here this evening, Matt Semple going to look to pick up another win Just picked up a win. Where do you pick up a win? It was pretty recent. I'm drawing a blank here.
pretty recent is a good way to put it, considering it was last week. But
There you go.
it was at Rockingham, and yes,
I see
indeed.
you looking.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Had to double check my stats right there, but yeah, I felt like it was recent. Matt Semple winning in kind of surprising fashion out in Rockingham. I mean, he has definitely come out here, Matt Semple, and stamped his name as one of the drivers who you have to watch out for whenever you talk about fuel, whether it's fuel strategy, fuel saving, fuel management, whatever. He's gotten, multiple wins that you and I have seen, and even called in which he's been, capitalizing on those fuel opportunities. But more than anything last week, Tom, Matt went out there and just did better on his tires than drivers like Greg Mitchell, which was really surprising to see.
Yeah, it really was. And you talk about drivers like Gary Bowman, Greg Mitchell, Ed Jurgen at times that are able to manage their tires, but Matt was able to manage everything last week, including the fuel. And now Matt, the most recent winner in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, is going to begin his first time lap. We have about 12 to 13 drivers on track right now as it stands. As you see the names down at the bottom, we're going to try to flip around as much as we possibly can. Eric Anderson, Stuyvesant, Larry Bell, Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr, Andrew Caldwell, other drivers that are out on track right now. But Matt Semple is not one to overlook out here tonight at the wheel.
No, he is not, and I think his progression as a road course racer has been really interesting to track ever since he got here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. This is Semple's third season with us. He's gotten one win a season, keeping that streak alive as of last week, but he's been sneaky really good on these road courses, and I don't think it's going to be very long before we see the 16 truck steal one at a road course.
Well, tonight may be the night, but the driver that he has to get in front of, if he wants to do that, is going to be this number 55 Chevy Silverado. Every time we come to a road course, Arie, I feel like we're talking red and white.
we certainly are. And Greg Mitchell's looking for one thing, and that's the black and white. Through oval turns 1 and 2, and down the back stretch goes that 55. We'll see what he can do through this backstretch chicane right here. One of the things Greg is so good at these road courses is braking and kind of keeping the rear tires under him on exit, which I guess those are two things, but those are the two things that stand out to me a lot, having raced him time and time again here at these road courses, having been beaten by him time and time again at these road courses. He's got some kind of magic under braking that I could never quite replicate.
There you go. Greg Mitchell's going to complete his first lap out here, and he's going to go to the top of the board. Matt Semple currently second. Cody Gibson currently third, and Greg Mitchell's actually going to have issues on his second lap. So 1 lap of qualifying for Greg Mitchell is all he's going to get. Other drivers out on track right now, currently still following Matt Semple, second on the board, first time by for the 16. As he comes down here into turn number 7, that 180 back up onto NASCAR 1 and 2.
This could be a good opportunity for drivers like Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, to maybe go out there and steal the pole away, or at the very least, get up there on the front row. Greg Mitchell out of qualifying a little earlier than we expected. Let's see what Semple can do through the backstretch chicane right here. Going to jump up over that turtle just a little bit, that turtle curve, and then keep it going right on out to the backstretch. It definitely helps that they can kind of cut those painted lines. That's not technically out of bounds here.
It's going to be an interesting look to see here, Arie, tonight. How many drivers elect to run the wall in NASCAR 3 and 4, and how many elect to run that blue line down there at the apron? I've always preferred to run the wall, but I'm also not very good at road courses, so that will come to fruition as other drivers continue their 2 laps of qualifying out here. Matt Semple was not able to improve on his second lap, currently holds second, following Andrew Caldwell in that number 46 Toyota Tundra.
I think it'll be an interesting thing to watch, to your point about inside, outside, even middle. In my experience here at the Roval, I've always liked to kind of take the bottom line through the oval, and then I just kind of wash up towards the end of the corner, especially coming onto this immediate chicane here on the front stretch. I like to kind of get that wide arc into that line right here as Caldwell gets through pretty well. And to the line for the 46. Going to jump up 1 spot, P5 for Mr. Caldwell. And that's probably going to leave a mark.
That is not what Andrew Caldwell wanted to do, following Larry Bell around. Larry's going to get wide on the exit of turn number, we'll call it 17 there.
Yeah.
Following Dustin Ping around in the Ping Precision Auto.
Here's a contender for pole.
Yeah, Dustin hasn't put down a qualifying lap out here just yet. His drivers have just about a little under 5 minutes remaining. But Dustin certainly could be one. Looks like he's working on his lap number 1 here.
I think Dustin really shone back at Sonoma, our first road course of the season, where he was able to get up there and hassle Greg a lot. He didn't quite have that same competitive edge in Watkins Glen. He was still kind of up in the picture, but you get Dustin at a road course he's comfortable with, and he will certainly be a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Dustin Ping 10th across the board as they come across. Dustin's going to come into tonight's race 13th in the point standings. Is the current wild card leader, but he is 24 points out of the 10th place points position for the playoffs. So a couple of different ways into the playoffs for the 81, and whether it's the points or the wild card, got to be thinking fairly certain that Dustin is just looking to have a good run out here and not worry too much about Talladega next week.
I would tend to think so. I think we'll see that 81 truck in the playoffs, regardless of whether it's on points or on the wild card, so long as he doesn't go out there and DNF both races. But, just keep the car under you, and you'll be good to get there. Dustin's done a great job with the speed he's had this season. Even if the results haven't been there, he's been able to get stage points when he's had that speed, and that has done enough to at least give him that wild card safety net.
Dustin Ping, 10th on the board the first time by. We'll see what he's able to do, if he's able to improve his second lap. He is the last car, as it runs right now, to be on an active track. So Dustin's going to have to pick up, he's going to have to pick up almost 2.5 seconds. I don't know if that's going to happen, but lap number 2 in the books, checkered flag falling. Dustin Ping going to move to 8th on the board with 2 laps down in his qualifying attempt.
P8, not so bad. It looked like he struggled a little bit through that final chicane, cooked it a little too much, but still not terrible start for Dustin Ping. And looking down through the grid at the moment while no cars are out on track, I gotta say I'm pleasantly surprised with the time that we've seen from Cody Gibson, a driver who's been so dominant this season, but a driver who very openly and admittedly is not a road course racer and kind of struggles at these tracks. So to see Cody come out here and put a P3 time on the board on qualifying is probably a good sign. I don't know if you remember, Tom, but the last time we were at a road course in Watkins Glen, he told us he was aiming for 6th place specifically, and he did manage it for what it's worth.
He did, and I was going to say that he gave us a very specific goal at Watkins Glen, and that was a top 6. Not a top 5, but a top 6. So Cody Gibson currently 3rd on the board. Ed Jurgen, Andrew Caldwell as the top 5 as they run right now. A couple of drivers, Arie, did not elect to take a qualifying time, and that is Amanda Sherman, Jarrett Kiemele, Nathan Dufton, Frank DiMaggio, and Steven Music electing to sit on pit road for the duration of this qualifying event out here tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, while we've got a minute or two, why don't we pull up the driver in question here? Cody Gibson, driver of the one. We were just talking about you in your road course experiences, shall we say. You've put yourself P3 provisionally here in qualifying, and we've got to know, is today a P6 kind of day, or do you think you got something more?
Honestly, I don't even know how I ran that lap. I mean, I kind of backed it up the same in practice, but I can't run them lap times during the race. I'm just going to take myself out because it's so loose out there.
10-4 on that one. Definitely something that'll come back to bite you. Well, I tell you what, P3 is a good start for you. We'll see if you can one-up your Watkins Glen performance. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, it's the checkered flag about to fly over qualifying out here tonight. Let's give you the race rundown. We do have 2 stages out here tonight. We will see 2 full course yellows, and they will come at the conclusion of lap number 10 and lap number 25 out here this evening. So some stage points to be awarded out here this evening to bring the racing back closer together as the checkered flag flies over qualifying. Greg Mitchell going to take the pole out here this evening from the Charlotte Roval. And Arie, what do you say? It's about time we go racing once again here on a Tuesday night. It's about time we get ready to go racing for race number 15, the Charlotte Roval.
Let's do it. Starting on pole, as you know, it's going to be Greg Mitchell, driver of the 55, looking to make it 6 in a row at the road courses. Alongside him on the front row, it's going to be Matt Semple, last week's winner, driver of the 16, looking to go 2 in a row. On row 2, it's going to be Cody Gibson, driver of the number 1, alongside Ed Jurgen in the 92. In 5th place, it's Andrew Caldwell in the 46 and Gary Bowman, driver of the 8. 7th place is Brad Holmes, double-double, alongside Dustin Ping in 8th place, and rounding out the top 10, it's going to be Tanner Marr and Paxton Frith.
On the outside of the top 10 looking in, it's going to be Mike Stuyvesant driving the number 20 Toyota Tundra out here tonight. Eric Anderson is going to start 12th on the board, followed by Lee Campbell in that number 60. Phil Van Vliet, driver out of TNA Motorsports Camp, is rolling off 14th, with Larry Bell rolling off 15th. Jason Raymond, Five Kings Motorsports, going to be starting 16th, with Logan Spencer. Chris Lutz going to be starting 18th. Jarrett Kiemely makes his return to the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and the top 20 is rounded out by Nathan Dufton.
In 21st is, well, I guess I guess there was a name skip there. Frank DiMaggio in 19th. Then we get to Cavilli, then Dufton. We got Steven Music in 22nd. Amanda Sherman, the Warwagon Shotgun on the field in 23rd. We got there.
All right, Arie, as the drivers begin to make their way out of pit road, this time by, they're going to be following the iRacing.com pace car, and they're going to be following the lead control of Greg Mitchell and Matt Semple on the front row. Cody Gibson, we just spoke to him, and he was talking about tires and looseness out here tonight. And as we take a look at these drivers, as they're going to come through what many would consider to be probably the most difficult corner here on the new Roval layout, and that's going to be turn number 7. We're going to see all these drivers trying to make this 180-degree turn out here. I believe this is going to be the corner 4 issues out here tonight.
I would tend to think so. I think it'll also be maybe one of the best passing opportunities, especially with how hard of a braking zone it is. So we'll just have to see. We do know that we already had, 2 good passing opportunities into both chicanes that we had, so throw a third one in there, pretty evenly spaced out on the track, and I think you've got a good recipe. So we've seen it do good in the real world. Let's see what we can do here in the sim world with these drivers. And I mean, we all know that Greg Mitchell is going to be the one to watch here in this race, but 55 car aside, I wouldn't be surprised, Tom, if we don't see driver 46 in the third row, Andrew Caldwell, start making his way up early on in the race and get to the top 3 by the time it's done.
Yeah, certainly not out of the question. Andrew Caldwell, known for short track racing, known for road course racing. So watch that 46 try to make his way through the field here, Arie. Hey, real quick, before we go green flag racing here, Arie, first stage is only 10 laps. Does that work to an advantage of these leaders, or does it work against them, knowing that it's only 10 laps here?
It's not too far away from a fuel run, all things considered. I don't think it really goes one way or the other. I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone decides to flip the stage, but I mean, that we get to find out in only 10 laps time, so why not?
All right, well, drivers getting ready to go racing out here tonight, and pace car going to be down and away. They're going to come down into the front stretch chicane. Greg Mitchell's going to be the first one to see the green flag as he's up through the gearboxes, 4 gears strong. Everybody comes past Barnett Flagman for the first time. We're going to go down into turn number 1 and see the excitement that this field of 23 drivers has out here for us tonight.
One of the trickiest starts on the calendar of any track, getting through that chicane and then this tight turn 1 right here. It gets the field spread out immediately. You can see Greg Mitchell already has about 5 or 6 car lengths, making a full second on Matt Semple in second place. Cody Gibson is held on to third, Ed Jurgen in fourth. Everyone spread out at the moment. You've got to go quite a ways back to find the first close battle.
Greg Mitchell has already opened up over a 1-second gap to Matt Semple, who you're currently following on board right now. Is everybody's going to come down into turn number 7 for the first time out here. Cody Gibson's going to possibly take a look down onto the inside of Matt Semple, going to think twice about it, and he's going to fall in line now down here into NASCAR 1 and 2, and drivers going to continue their way down the backstretch now into the second challenge of the track, and that's going to be the backstretch chicane.
That it is, and one thing to keep in mind at a track like the Roval, it's not often that you're talking about drafting at a road course, but here we are, and one of the best opportunities to do so along that NASCAR turns 1 and 2, and then through 3 and 4 to that front stretch chicane as well. So definitely aids the passing opportunities.
A couple of drivers already battling for position a little bit back in the on the outside of the top 10. Jason Raymond, Phil Van Vliet, Eric Anderson, and this entire group of about 6 or 7. This is a battle for about the, I guess we'll call it about the 12th place position, but a whole bunch of drivers tucked up on one another as they all come down to complete lap number 1 of 42.
Right now, I think it's going to be a big feel-it-out phase, as we might have issues for Nathan Dufton a little bit further back in the pack. It looks like he might have had at least some contact. Looks like that truck is going pointed in the right direction at the very least. Not too sure what happened there for the 47.
Got a replay queued up here down into turn number 1 on the conclusion of lap number 1. Looks like he's just gonna get some brake lock there on the 47 on the inside of, I want to say that was the 65 of Chris Letts, the 19 of Logan Spencer. And easy to do here, Arie, especially going into a corner, maybe not in the preferred line, as you saw there.
Yeah, certainly something that you can have happen on corner entry at these road courses, especially when the conditions are a little more loose, like we've heard these drivers fighting so far today. But, you know, to the point that I made before Dufton's issue, in this early part of the race, especially just all throughout stage 1, I think right now it's all about feeling out what you got, what your speed is like compared to those around you, and how the tires react to getting pushed in these race conditions over this first stage being, you know, a nice 10-lap window right there. It's a pretty good number, pretty good amount of wear on those tires to kind of feel it out for the rest of the race, because it is a long race at the end of the day.
Dustin Ping is able to make his way around Gary Bowman. That's going to put him into 6th place running position. Going to take a spot away from Gary Bowman, who started 6th on the board. And already down a spot. Brad Holmes down a spot as well. Drivers on the move right now. Dustin Ping, you're looking at him right now in that number 81 red and black shirt. Out here this evening, you can see the rumble strips. Dustin Ping already up 2 spots in the opening laps from tonight's race. Amanda Sherman up 2 spots, and Jason Raymond, as it looks like there's an issue for Steven Music.
That's some pretty significant damage on the right side of that 09 truck right there. See if we can't queue up a replay, perhaps. That kind of damage kind of looks like he got into one of those non-safer barrier concrete walls pretty hard. We'll see. Oh, Dufton.
Oh, so Nathan Dufton had a second issue here. So, all right, so let's, while this race is still going along here, this is the issue from the previous lap. Let's take a look from on board with Steven Music, and he sees the 47 of Nathan Dufton getting loose down into turn number 1. And honestly, Arie, this is kind of just wrong place, wrong time for Steven.
Yeah, it's very much wrong place, wrong time. It's such a narrow little spot right there, not where you want to have a car spinning. And it looks like a lot of the same issue for Dufton. That time it wasn't under braking, but still, as we go 3 wide right here, issues for Andrew Caldwell went off track. He's going to lose 3 positions right here, maybe 4 if Tanner Marr can pounce. But it looks like drivers fighting some rear end, lack of rear end grip, I should say. That rear end stepping out quite a bit. We've seen it bite Nathan Dufton twice already. Not sure what happened to Caldwell for him to lose 3 spots like that.
Well, as these drivers start to settle out and single file back out, let's take a look at Andrew Caldwell right here. So coming through NASCAR 3 and 4, we're going to be going down into the NASCAR chicane on the front stretch here. Does he put his tires into the grass? He does a little bit. Another thing with the brake lock up here, and Dustin Ping.
Oh my gosh.
Does
wow.
Get a little bit of contact there, but that's as minimal as it possibly could.
Yeah, Dustin Ping's got to be feeling pretty good about scraping through that one. That could have been a lot worse. It looked like it was definitely some rear end getting loose under braking right there for the 46, and then when you clip the grass, that's when it's over. You might be able to save it if it's a little loose. Once you get in the grass, that's when you're going for the ride. So Dustin Ping had a great shot of this right here on board, and it's all fun and games until you start driving right towards where that 46 car is going. Good heads-up reaction from Dustin to get on the brake and turn to the right.
Could have absolutely been a whole lot worse for Dustin Ping and both Andrew Caldwell. But both of those drivers going to continue as we are now past halfway in stage number 1.
Field getting quite spread out up to this point. Reminder that these days we are doing stage caution breaks on these road courses. So once that yellow flag flies at the conclusion of lap 10 for stage number 1, we're going to re-rack and restack them. A little bit of pressure right here. Eric Anderson on the back of Jason Raymond. This is going to be a battle for P13 as we run. Raymond's up 3 positions, looking to get out of the clutches of the 43 truck right here.
Jason's going to open up a little bit of daylight from turn 6 to turn 7. And I was talking to Eric before the race, and he was saying that he was having to play with the throttle a whole lot to try to avoid, especially down here in turn number 7. He was having issues down here in turn 7 to try to avoid overpowering the engine on the corner exit to avoid the rear end stepping out. And you can see now Phil Van Vliet, the lone Dutchman, not too far behind Eric Anderson. This is a battle for about the 14th place position.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Philip get up in there and throw his hat into the mix a little bit. Philip might not be known for road course racing, but Philip is always known for preserving those tires, and this might be a little bit of what we're seeing right here. Eric might be struggling a little bit as he was in practice, and Philip might not be the fastest car on track at the road course, but he's going to have those tires underneath him, and that makes him dangerous.
Absolutely, as you see the difference in time that Philip Van Vliet's able to close on the front stretch chicane. Does he take a look down here into turn number 1? He may think about taking a look. Looks like he's going to get his nose to the inside of the 43, but that's going to give the advantage to the 43 into turns number 3 and 4 on the exit of turn number 1.
Eric is Tokyo drifting around
he's
the
giving it all
Roval.
he's got.
Wow, we need to get Eric hooked up with a Tokyo drift paint scheme or something. The way he's sliding around there, I think Philip's liking what he's seeing in terms of tires, and Larry Bell we saw get a little slideways behind these two as well. So a lot of drivers trying to figure out where the grip is on track early on.
Driver's going to see 4 laps to go in the stage next time by, and that is when the first batch of stage points, as Eric is still kicking the rear end of the truck out. And Philip Van Vliet, I tell you what, Philip has been a little bit faster the last couple of laps. I've been watching Philip's laps times. He's been a little bit faster than that 43 that he's got in front of him, but it's so difficult to set yourself up for a pass, Arie, because there's only on a road, on an oval, you can say every corner is a passing zone. On a road course, that story is a little bit different.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we're going to see maybe another opportunity right here from Philip, but I think maybe one of the biggest things that Philip is looking for is just a big enough mistake out of the 43. I think with how many slides we've seen out of that 43, he might just be waiting for the right opportunity, and it may come before too long right here. You can see how much more grip he's got through the corner. It gets a little messy on exit right there, but that 89 is just able to stay planted so much better at this point in the run. And given how Eric's been fighting that truck, I think that entirely comes down to just how happy the tires are. All of that grip difference. The 43 truck is dealing with some really hot, really upset tires at the moment.
Other drivers out on track having a pretty close battle right now. Brad Holmes and Tanner Marr not too far behind. Gary Bowman about a second and a half in front of this little pack that's happening right now. But Tanner Marr in that number 4 black, white, and blue Chevy Silverado, that Christmas paint scheme that he's got out here this evening, is trying to chase down Brad Holmes for an additional stage point coming in just about 3.5 laps.
That he is, and if I know Tanner Marr, he's also probably feeling a little jaded at dropping in the power rankings, so might be looking at that as well. Is driver number 4. We'll see what he can do long-term here throughout this run. Just behind Tanner is the 46 of Andrew Caldwell, driver who we saw had issues earlier on in this race. Kind of got a little sideways, had a little half spin, lost 3 positions out of it. So we'll see what Andrew can do to recover. But to your point from earlier, it's very hard to pass, and you've got to set them up very meticulously. You only really have 3 good passing opportunities. So
issues for Larry Bell, issues for Paxton Frith on track. Let's take a look at Larry Bell right here, going down the backstretch into the backstretch chicane in the 0-5. And
well, he's going to rear end.
He's going to miss the chicane. No damage there. Paxton Frith also with issues. Let's take a look at Paxton in the number 7 Ford F-150. And another chicane here, Arie.
That it is, and oh, he just got in a little toasty right there. Took that turtle curb real bad on the underside right there. Good thing you don't really need that here.
Both of those drivers going to make it through pretty clean, as cleanly as they possibly could. But this little pack of 3 drivers out here with 3 laps remaining in the stage, not going anywhere anytime soon. Andrew Caldwell trying to chase down Tanner Marr, and now Tanner Marr's got a windshield full of a Tundra in his rearview mirror.
That he does. We're going to see what Caldwell can do to mount the pressure right here. Even if you're not looking to make the pass, even if you're not sticking a nose in there, just being right on the bumper of somebody through a chicane is a great way to force that error. It's one thing to try and nail a chicane. It's another thing to try and nail a chicane when you've got somebody breathing down your neck. And so that's going to be something that Andrew's got to use to his advantage right here. And Tanner's going to have to kind of stay steel-willed, if you will, through these chicanes especially, and just kind of hold off that pressure, make Andrew get close enough to stick that nose in there. And all the while, Tanner is still closing that gap on Brad over this last part of the track.
The difficult part for Tanner here, Arie, is that he's got Andrew, who's no slouch on road courses, right behind him in his rearview mirror, but he's also got Brad Holmes right in front of him. So if Brad makes a mistake, that could be 2 positions gained for Andrew Caldwell. So it's not like Tanner has clear track in front of him to run. He's also got to be working out of his windshield as well as his rear mirror.
It's definitely going to be affecting that Ford truck as it is with the 46. Dirty air might not be as big of a deal as it is on ovals, and speaking of road courses, it's a much bigger deal when you go over to like F1, for example, but there is still an element of it here, even in stock car racing, and it's only going to get worse the more cars you're behind. So I'm surprised Caldwell's been able to hold on as close as this pack has been, but he's keeping the pressure up, and we've got 2 laps to go to the end of the stage. He might not be out of this battle yet.
Certainly is, as we're going to go down into the backstretch chicane for the second to last time. In stage number 1, Tanner Marr is able to hang on to the 8th place running position over Andrew Caldwell. Brad Holmes directly in front of this group. That time by, Tanner was able to put a little bit of distance on the 46, and that is what he is looking to do the most out here tonight, and buy himself some breathing room with 1 lap to go on the stage.
That was a great lap from Tanner, opens up that gap just a little bit. Brad Holmes has been doing a fantastic job as well to hold Tanner Marr and Andrew Caldwell back. If anything, Brad may have been closing in on Gary Bowman over this run, who has a windshield full of Ed Jurgen. There's quite a few cars right here. Everyone from Dustin Ping in 4th all the way down to Andrew Caldwell in 9th, all more or less nose to tail in this big bunch of cars right here. So all those drivers racing a pretty equal pace, and I think that's going to be interesting to watch through the rest of the race as Greg Mitchell continues to circulate for the final time here in stage 1, looking at a healthy bag of 10 stage points.
Back up front, no pressure up front, 4.5 seconds from first to second place. Greg Mitchell, Matt Semple, and then Cody Gibson. You got to go back about 9 seconds before you find the 1 truck of Cody Gibson out here tonight. But through stage 1, it's been all Greg Mitchell in that Chevy Silverado, as he's got just a couple more sets of corners to go to secure another stage victory here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League and get some very important stage points, as he's going to come across, and we're going to be taking a look at the 10th place running position out here before the stage is official. That's going to be the battle between Tanner Marr, Andrew Caldwell, and Mike Stiverson.
Through 3 and 4 of the oval and down into the chicane, Brad Holmes gets a little wiggly trying to chase down Gary Bowman. He got real close. They all got real close, as a matter of fact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the line, just like that. That'll bring out our caution for stage 1 as soon as Mike Stiverson crosses the line, and that locks it in. Officially official. Greg Mitchell wins the stage. Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, your top 3. And I tell you what, just like in qualifying, pleasantly surprised from Cody Gibson in stage 1. He didn't just hold on to 3rd place, Tom. He actually drove away from that other pack. Driver is going to catch up to that pace car. It's going to take quite a bit under caution here for the first time for the end of stage 1. We've got the track map up on screen so you can see where all of the drivers are running at the moment. Pace car is going to come out of pit road once the 55 car gets all the way back around. And you can see just how spread out the field got over the course of that first stage right there. So we'll see how everyone can manage getting caught back up. Most of these drivers are going to be running full speed still, as if it were still under green flag conditions just to get themselves caught back up here. But Greg Mitchell wins stage 1. Matt Semple going to score 9 points. Cody Gibson scores 8. Dustin Ping comes home in 4th. Ed Jurgen 5th place points. Gary Bowman, Brad Holmes, Tanner Marr, Andrew Caldwell, and Mike Stiverson. Those are the points payouts for stage 1. Ever so important stage points, especially as we close in on the playoffs here. We are in the penultimate week of the regular season. It's today and it's next week in Talladega to set the official grid for the Scrambler Series playoffs, brand new to the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Interesting twist, interesting take on running a championship playoff format. So excited to see that play out and excited to see these pit stops play out. Like most of the race leaders going to be caught up through this little stretch right here. Gives the rest of the field plenty of time to catch up before we circle back around to pit road. Shouldn't be any gaps too crazy before everyone starts making their pit stops. Tell you what, while we are circulating under caution, why don't we bring up second place, as a matter of fact. Finisher in second place in stage 1, Matt Semple, driver of the 16. Going a little unorthodox here. Some might expect me to pull up the stage winner, but no, I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Matt. As the driver who qualified second, you ran second all of stage 1. Greg was able to pull a bit of a gap on you, but at the end of the day, you still kind of kept him in sight. You were still able to see him up there. Do you think there's anything that this 16 truck has going forward?
Yeah, I was just trying to kind of feel out my tires there at that stage. Didn't really run flat out. Took more of a conservative approach to that. So just kind of want to see where my tires are at, if I can push a bit harder or a lot harder. And yeah, just hopefully try and keep Greg in my sights. And maybe he has a mistake on pit road or on the track somewhere and I can capitalize, or just flat out run him down. So it's going to be a tough feat trying to defeat Greg tonight, but I'm up for the challenge.
Well, I tell you what, Matt, I've been in your shoes many times trying to chase down that 55 at a road course, and I've not succeeded, so maybe you can where I didn't. I'll tell you this much. If Greg wins tonight, he breaks the record for most consecutive road course wins, so there's a little extra fuel for you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, there's our P2 runner, Matt Semple, driver of the 16, winner last week in Rockingham, I believe it was. Yeah, Rockingham we were at. Driver's going to pull off onto pit road after making their way all the way around the track. Greg Mitchell leads us in. Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, Dustin Ping. We'll see how we exit pit road, but first things first, everyone's got to have a nice entry, no penalties, don't slide the box, all the fundamentals. Quick stop for Nathan Dufton a little bit further back in the pack. Here we go with all of the race leaders dropping Jack and heading off a pit road. We've already got a twist. Looks like Cody Gibson is going to get second place off of pit road ahead of Matt Semple. Though we do have... No, as a matter of fact, Nathan Dufton getting off pit road first is a lap down, so maybe taking a wave around here. Greg Mitchell retains the race lead. Cody Gibson in second. Matt Semple in third. Ed Jurgen jumps ahead of Dustin Ping for fourth. It looks like much of the rest of the order remained the same through that pit sequence. All eyes on the 55 of Greg Mitchell, looking to get it done for the 6th time out of 6 attempts at a road course race here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. It's going to be Greg Mitchell's 3rd season as well here in Cyber Thunder. Third or fourth? I want to say third. I'll have to have the statisticians fact check me on that one. Tell you what, we do got some long pace laps right here. Why don't we pull up our stage 1 winner, Greg Mitchell, and let's see what he's got to say. All right, we've got our stage 1 winner, man of the night so far, Greg Mitchell, driver of the 55. Greg, you were able to go out there and score the pole in your one and only lap that you were able to get in there. You pulled away by about 1.5 seconds in like 3 turns on lap 1, and you were just kind of gone from that point. But you still got a hungry field of drivers behind you, a couple of drivers who've shown a lot of pace so far tonight. Do you think you've got what it takes to hold them off?
I hope so. Matt's running really good, so I think it's just going to come down to whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. He's keeping me honest, though, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I'm going to put you on the spot on Arie here because I could never quite figure this out about you with road courses, but what's your secret under braking?
Oh, here we go.
Don't use them at all. That's my No, I don't really have any secrets. It's just control. I mean, you got to control the car under braking and learn what the deepest point is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Just control it as best as you can, but that ain't always easy. So.
Certainly isn't, and fair enough at that one. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll send you back down with the team. Good luck the rest of the night.
Thank you.
That's got to be the most race car driver answer that I've ever heard. Not to use the brakes at all on a road course here, Arie.
That's somebody who that's how you know you've raced with that person before, hitting you with a comeback like that.
Yeah, my tires were 100% on that last stop. I don't know what issue. But the field is doubled up behind the iRacing.com pace car. Lights are extinguished. And we are getting set to go racing once again here to begin stage number 2. Going to be probably about 10 laps of green flag racing after these stages, because these caution laps still do tick off laps. So Greg Mitchell going to be bringing us back to the green flag for stage number 2 with Cody Gibson to his right side. Matt Semple's going to be starting 3rd, Ed Jurgen 4th, and Dustin Ping in 5th.
Double them up, and this time we'll see what Cody Gibson can do from the front row. Did a good job at holding on to the top 2 on this last run. They were all pretty spread out from one another, though at the end of the day, it was kind of, Greg on an island, Matt on an island, Cody on an island. Then you had to go, 12, 15 seconds further back before you got to 4th place and the rest. So those top 3 seem to have something figured out above the rest, though. The question still remains how much of stage 1 was just kind of feeling it out and figuring out what everyone's got from themselves, and how much more will we see here in stage 2.
Quiet night out here tonight so far for Arie. I do want to give a shout out to a couple of drivers. Lee Campbell up 3 positions in stage number 1. The truck in that number 60 truck looks clean, followed by Jason Raymond directly behind him. That truck also looks clean. So a couple of drivers slowly and methodically making their way forward. Amanda Sherman also up 5 spots as they run from their qualifying positions. So quiet stage number 1 for some of these drivers out here tonight.
What I love about racing is that quiet is often a good thing, and you can just kind of be doing your thing, keeping your nose clean, picking up positions left and right, and before you know it, you've halved the position that you started in and had a pretty good day out of it.
We're about to see the green flag for the second time out here in tonight's event as the pace car gets ready to make that hard left-hand turn down pit road, and the field of 23 drivers going to bring us down into the front stretch chicane as we get set to go green flag racing. Once again, you see Greg Mitchell sees the green flag, and he's going to hit the loud pedal first. Cody Gibson up on the outside, followed by Matt Semple and the rest.
Trickiest start on the calendar, but this time Cody Gibson's not going to let Greg Mitchell get away so easily. Matt Semple's got his hands full of Ed Jurgen in the 92. He's finally going to get cleared right there. That opens the door for Dustin Ping a little bit further back. And I tell you what, Tom, these restarts are where so much. This is where you've got to make up all the track position that you can.
You absolutely do need to. As this run goes along, it's going to become harder and harder and harder as the green flag laps click off to gain those positions. So the restarts are an opportunity here as Dustin Ping looks like he's going to gain a spot here through the opening lap of the restart. He's going to get all the way to the back bumper of the number 16 Alta Construction Chevy Silverado and try to make a pass, but it looks like he's going to have to hold on another lap.
That he is. Up 4 positions from where he started this race is Dustin Ping, tied for our biggest mover so far. Great job to hold off Ed Jurgen right there on that pass. Now he's going to try and work over Matt Semple. All the while, Cody Gibson doing everything he can to not let Greg Mitchell get too far away. Gap hasn't quite reached a second yet, which is pretty impressive in and of itself. A couple of the closest battles on track we're watching right now up towards the front through the final chicane, turn 17, for the end of the first green flag, a lap in stage number 2. And Greg Mitchell continues to lead this race.
About a half second or a little bit more than that is the difference between the leader and second place, Cody Gibson, right now. Still following Dustin Ping right now, trying to chase down the third place running car of Matt Semple. And that is one of the closer battles out on track as they run right now, but you can see the top 4, top 5, top 6 as they enter into camera frame and exit. Try to run Dustin Ping. Let's take a look down here, Arie. Something that we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight is the passing zone down here in turn number 7 here. And it looks like Dustin may get a thought about taking a look down to the inside, and he's going to have to hold on for at least another corner before he attempts a pass.
One of the things that I just noticed there on the exit of that hairpin from Dustin is that it sounded like he had the acceleration of that truck under control. It didn't sound like there was any sliding the tires whatsoever. That back end didn't kick out too much at all, and that is going to make a huge difference as these laps tick by and this run gets longer and longer. Keeping those rear tires underneath you is going to be the biggest game changer. So if he can do that better than that 16, he won't have to wait too long and he'll find the opportunity.
Taking a look back here, and you can see Dustin Ping now to the right side of Matt Semple as they go into the front stretch chicane. A little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of contact between the 16 and the 81. The 81 of Dustin Ping going to be able to make the pass, but Dustin Ping up to the third place running position. Matt Semple back to 4th, and now Ed Jurgen sets his sights on 4th.
I can't believe how far back Dustin Ping had sent that into the braking zone and still made that corner. They did get a little argy-bargy, as you like to say, but I don't think that was from how deep he drove it in. That's just side-by-side in a chicane right there. So props to Dustin Ping for a great move under braking. A little further back, we've got a bit of a kerfuffle going on. That's Caldwell, Marr, and maybe even Lee Campbell.
Lee Campbell was one of the drivers. Lee Campbell having a great night out here this evening, as is Andrew Caldwell. Lee's going to take a look down into the inside of the treacherous turn number 7, followed by Jason Raymond. And you got about 4, maybe 5 drivers with Mike Stuyvesant trailing this pack as this this little pack tries to settle out and decides who wants to be in front of who. But it looks like Andrew Caldwell's going to lose a spot or two to Jason Raymond here. But he may not be done just yet.
No, he may not, and I guess now might be a good time to formally offer my apologies to Andrew Caldwell for giving him the commentator's curse today, because he's down 6 positions since I picked him to move up at the start. So sorry for that one, Andrew, as we continue to watch this battle between Lee Campbell and Jason Raymond. Jason Raymond, officially our biggest mover of the race, up 6, looking to make it up 7. He can work over Lee Campbell in the coming laps.
Going down here into turn number 1 as they cross the start-finish line to begin lap number 18 of 42, with just a handful of laps remaining in stage number 2. And you can hear the throttle inputs that Lee Campbell has, who we're riding on board with. Hear him having to play with it just a little bit, but Jason Raymond's able to close that gap a little bit. That's going to put an opportunity in the hands of Jason Raymond for possibly turn number 7 here.
Looks like we have issues further back for Paxton Frith, potentially having an issue. Looks like he's got that truck going in the right direction again. Not too sure what happened here for the 7. It's rear end slide.
Like he just gets just a little bit loose. No damage, no other incidental contacts. So that's just kind of one of those road course things. You know, you try to put the power down just a little bit heavier than the guy in front of you, and well, sometimes it doesn't always agree with that.
No, it doesn't. Looks like Jason Raymond finally got around Lee Campbell, and here comes Andrew Caldwell back into the picture. Surprise, surprise, that 46 is not done yet. He's going to try and take a page out of Raymond's book and follow him back up through the field. Move Raymond up 7 from where he started, now running in P9. Looking to score some solid stage points here in Stage 2.
Driver's going to come through turns 1 and 2, and they're going to go into the infield section of the Charlotte Roval as we have just about 5 laps remaining. In stage number 2, Andrew Caldwell now puts the heat on the 49 of Jason Raymond. And they got Gary Bowman, name we haven't said too much out here tonight. Gary Bowman has started 6th in his qualifying effort out here tonight. As Jason Raymond's going to get loose, and he's going to hang on to it, but that was quite the save from the 49.
I don't know how he saved that.
I was talking about Gary, started 6th, running 8th, and you know, when you come to a road course, you know, maybe you got to kind of set your expectations and take a top 7 or top 8 car and finish top 7 or top 8. So, and that's what Gary's doing out here tonight. So good on Gary Bowman.
That is good, solid points racing right there. Finishing no lower than what the car is capable of, and on any given day, maybe trying to find 1 or 2 extra spots from what it can manage. Gary Bowman, definitely a driver who's capable of doing that, and I've been kind of surprised this last lap and a half to see Andrew Caldwell come back with such a fury and just repass those drivers who had passed him earlier on like it was nothing.
I tell you what here, Arie, I see Cody Gibson with a slowdown here. I don't see anything notable about Cody Gibson, but I do see a slowdown on that one truck there, and you could see the effects of that as now he has had to let 2 cars by on the entry to turns 1 and 2. Dustin Ping has made his way to 2nd and Matt Semple to 3rd.
That is a very interesting point that you make right there. I wonder what that could have been from. Looks like he was already...
This is where he... Yeah, this is where he had to give up some time.
I wonder if we can find from him. We'll go a bit further back. You can see the gap he's got to Dustin Ping right here. That is a pretty good gap going through the backstretch chicane right here. He gets through that just fine. I'm thinking this is going to be on the front stretch probably.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And if I had to guess, I got to imagine that he probably missed the front stretch chicane. As we follow Cody Gibson, still here on a replay.
Oh, I wonder if he just cut that too much, do you think?
Possibly. And that may be what iRacing flagged as a slowdown required, because right here is where he starts to serve the slowdown. As you can see, Dustin Ping now closed the gap, and also Matt Semple.
Sure.
Now, drivers do have the entirety of the lap here, so I'm kind of interested that Cody Gibson elected to give it all up in turn number 1, because they do have all the way up until the start-finish line to serve that slowdown.
I wonder if it's not the first time it's happened to Gibson, and maybe he just wasn't aware, got a little spooked by it.
Could be. Cody Gibson, one of the more stable drivers, I guess.
Consistent.
Able to keep consistent, yeah, maybe. Able to keep it out on track, but following a close battle out here, 4 laps remaining in the stage. Craig Mitchell leads by just under 6 seconds to Dustin Pink, 2nd place, 3rd place Matt Semple, as they run. Cody Gibson had to give up a couple of spots. A lap ago for a iRacing issues slow down, and Ed Jurgen rounds out the top 5, but you're looking at a great battle here for about the 10th place running position, led by Lee Campbell as it runs.
There you are. You can see just how much of a different line Raymond decided to take through that hairpin. He's going to get a good run down to the inside of Lee Campbell. He's going to take it, but can he enter the chicane with such a tight entry and make it stick? Yes, he does, but Lee Campbell's going to have a great shot to use that momentum, come back down on the inside, and now it's just an inverse of what we saw before, though. If Raymond can hold on the outside right here, he'll have the inside. By the time the chicane rolls around under braking, who's it going to be?
It may be Mike Stuyvesant if these drivers get together down here, as they're going to enter side by side, but they're going to single file out through the left and right and left of the chicane. And Jason Raymond's able to hold on to the 10th place running position. Lee Campbell directly behind him. Mike Stuyvesant currently runs in 12th as they run, and Larry Bell having a quiet night back in 13th.
been a pretty entertaining battle to watch thus far. Just ahead, we've got Gary Bowman in ninth, who, wow, Raymond has had a couple of really good saves
Same
so far
spot.
tonight. Yeah.
Same spot there as a couple of laps ago.
It is quite the spot for him. It's going to point some attention to the fact that Andrew Caldwell has moved past Gary Bowman. He's back up to P8 over the course of stage 2 right here. He is closing in on Tanner Marr. He's still got about 4 or 5 tenths to go to catch him before the end of stage. Wow, Jason Raymond. Every time we try to talk about anything else. Yeah, he's the Eric Anderson of stage 2, I guess.
He's going to lose a spot to Lee Campbell, put Lee up inside the top 10. Jason Raymond to 11th as they run. Mike Stuyvesant trying to chase down and put the 49 in his crosshairs as they come across, and we're about to see 1 lap to go in the stage, and another minute or 2 before we see our next batch of stage points and our full course yellow out here this evening. But Jason Raymond certainly has his hands full. Last time he was on pit road here, Arie, the pit time looks about the same, so it's not like he took 2 tires or anything.
Yeah, I think this is just a matter of Jason Raymond kind of having a short run sort of style and setup for tonight's event right here. We saw how good he was on the short run making those passes, and right now we're seeing the trade-off of that. Those tires have no grip. They are overheating big time. He's sliding through all of the corners. That just makes him more and more susceptible to the drivers behind, namely Mike Stuyvesant right now, who's probably feeling pretty good about taking one more position here.
Absolutely. Mike comes into tonight's second in the wild card points out here tonight. Is looking to build out his buffer, and again, those wild cards can get you in or make you miss the playoffs as we ride on board with the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network truck. And that number 20, he's going to go side by side with the 49 down here in NASCAR's 1 and 2, and looks like he's able to make the pass, put Jason Raymond back to position number 12 and Stuyvesant up to 11.
Stuyvesant needs 1 more to get back into the points, the oh so important stage point race for the wild card. We'll see if Stuyvesant can close in on the back of Campbell Bowman. It looks like Gary Bowman has been sliding back here in stage 2, so we'll see. He'll have just over a lap to get there as Lee Campbell moves up another spot. He's up 4 positions from where he started, is driver number 60, having a pretty good run tonight.
Other drivers having a close battle out on track right now. Tanner Marr is battling Andrew Caldwell as they run right now. We're going to kind of try to flip back and forth between the two. Looks like this battle for about 10th is starting to settle a little bit as we see the white flag in stage number 2, and Tanner Marr is given the back bumper massage to the 46.
Andrew Caldwell just got around Tanner Marr on to the start of this lap. We'll see if Caldwell can start to pull away right here. We'll see if Marr can put on the pressure. One thing I do know for sure is that Caldwell was all the way down in maybe P11 at one point here in stage 2, now finds himself up into P7, all just based on saving those tires and kind of charging forward in the second half of this stage. It's been a really good run out of the 46. You can see how much of a gap he pulls on Tanner Marr in the 4 right here riding on board, and more than anything, Tom, I think that tells me that Caldwell was very intentionally saving some tires in the first half.
Absolutely, as you were able to see visually the distance that Andrew Caldwell puts on the 4 as they exit turn number 7. But Greg Mitchell going to come across the line as we wait for the 10th place car to come across to complete stage number 2. Cody Gibson's going to come across the line in 4th place. Ed Jurgen is going to roll across in 5th place, pick up some stage points. We got to go back a little bit before we find Brad Holmes and Andrew Caldwell, followed by Tanner Marr, Lee Campbell, and it looks like Mike Stuyvesant is also going to take a stage point for this stage as well.
Stage number 2 over officially. Greg Mitchell is our big winner in stage 2. He won the pole, he won stage 1, he won stage 2. Only 1 more box to check off of that list for the 55. We'll see if he can hold on to do so. Coming up second in stage number 2, as he did in stage number 1, it's going to be Matt Semple in the 16, but at points it didn't look like that was going to be the case, because Dustin Ping in the 81 has thrown his name into the mix. He ran second for part of stage 2. wound up getting passed by Matt Semple a little bit later on, so he's going to come home with 3rd place points in stage number 2, the wild card stage point leader at the moment. Most stage points on the season, not already in the top 10 for the playoffs, is Dustin Ping, so that will only further solidify that spot. Cody Gibson 2nd in points. He's going to get 4th in stage 2. Ed Jurgen rounds out the top 5. We've got Brad Holmes in 6th at the end of the stage. Andrew Caldwell in 7th. Tanner Marr in 8th in that Christmas Ford truck. We've got Lee Campbell in 9th in the 60. And Mike Stiverson, when it was all said and done, in that 20 truck, going to take home that last single point. Oh, so important for Mike's playoff hopes. And with that, we await the 55 catching up to the pace car through turn, we'll call it 3 right there. I actually don't know the numbers here around the Charlotte Roval. Leaders are going to get caught right up to the tail end of the pace car. Wait for the rest of the field. You can watch on the track map on your screen. We get ready to make our potentially final pit stops of the event. It's a 42-lap race. We are currently working lap 25. Drivers will be pitting on 25 to 26. Word on the street is you can make it about 14 to 15 laps on fuel. That would put us, 15 laps would put us right at 40. So a little bit of fuel stretching is going to be required to make it all the way to 42. We'll see how this plays out with these drivers. They'll probably be saving some fuel under caution. We might see a couple drivers elect to come back down on pit road to top off a little bit more before the restart after their first pit stop for tires, that is. We'll keep an eye on all of that and more as we wait to see how the final road course of the season plays out. While we're under caution and pacing around, waiting for these pit stops, why don't we take a look at the pass for P2 that we missed due to other battles. This was Matt Semple getting back around Dustin Ping to take over 2nd place. Dustin Ping not able to get the throttle down on the exit of the hairpin right there. He's going to lose that spot, and looks like he would have been pretty close to losing 3rd as well from Cody Gibson, who just couldn't quite close in well enough. Had to tuck back in behind the 16 of Matt Semple. And Semple was able to drive away and hold on to P2 for the rest of the stage. You can also go back and take a look at Andrew Caldwell's pass on Tanner Marr that we missed initially. So it would have been for P7. Down into the turn 17 chicane. Ooh, a little bit of door banging. Bring it down the front straightaway. Still side by side right here. Tanner's got the preferred inside line, but it looks like Caldwell's just going to drive it in deep enough. Bring it around the outside and hold on ahead of Tanner. A nice battle right there for P7 towards the end of stage 2. Gave one more stage point to Mr. Caldwell. And with that, we are on pit road. Leaders making what might very well be their final stop of the evening.
The entire field on pit road as we see everybody come down, and I expect to see 4 tires up and down across the board as we see the left sides of these trucks go up and go down. Greg Mitchell's going to win the race off of pit road, followed by Matt Semple, and then it's going to be a drag race. Looks like Cody Gibson may get 3rd, followed by Dustin Ping, and Ed Jurgen might be the top 5.
Little bit of a shakeup in the top 5. Dustin Ping is going to lose a spot to Cody Gibson. Dustin Ping, who's looked so strong, especially on these short runs. He's going to have to start in P4 on this restart. Put Matt Semple back on the front row with Greg Mitchell. On the initial race start, we didn't see Matt Semple get as good of a restart to stick with the 55 as what we saw from Cody Gibson at the start of stage 2. We'll see what Matt can do with another attempt this time from the front row. But as it looks so far, Tom, it's going to take quite something to go up there and beat that 55.
It absolutely is, and one driver that has been good on road courses over the past couple of seasons, but maybe not always had the finishes to show for it. That's the 92 of Ed Jurgen. Currently runs 5th. Let's actually see if we can't grab Ed in the 92 truck out here tonight. Ed, Tom, and Arie up here. How you doing?
Hey Tom, how are you?
Hey, we're doing all right. You know, I've raced against you on road courses. You and I, we've bumped some fenders here and there along the way. You're going to be restarting this restart in, looks like it's going to be 5th place. You think you got anything for a podium or maybe even more than that by the end of tonight?
Possible podium, but I mean, Greg, forget about it. I'm just looking to stay ahead of Tanner to move on.
Yeah, that is the bracket race that's happening. It's gonna be you and Tanner up against 2 others out here tonight.
Eric and Greg, right?
Yeah, sure, we'll call it that. But hey, you know, next week we have Talladega, and then we're gonna begin our Scrambler series here. How are you feeling about what? You know, you come in here tonight 4th in the points, kind of just setting yourself up for an easy Talladega next week.
Yeah, I mean, going into the playoffs, getting into the playoffs, I'm just trying to stay safe and get some points, and but I'm gonna push it a little harder to come playoff time.
All right, well, don't get in front of that 92 if I've got some personal experience there at some point or another. But hey, Ed, best of luck to you these last 20 laps or so. I'll kick you back down to your team.
Appreciate it.
Maybe get to talk to you later tonight at the end of the evening.
Lights are out on the pace car. These drivers are doubling up 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through the field. Quick reminder of how we're going to restart for the final time. Regardless of incidents, this will be our final yellow flag of the evening. On the front row, it's going to be Greg Mitchell in control of this race alongside Matt Semple. On row 2, Cody Gibson, Dustin Ping. Row 3, Ed Jurgen, and Brad Holmes in the 00. Brad's had a very quiet race so far, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad is... been on the move out here tonight, and we'll see if he's able to continue his march forward. Andrew Caldwell is going to be restarting in the 6th place position with Tanner Moore, Jason Raymond, Gary Bowman, and Lee Campbell as the top 10 rounds out this 2nd and final yellow flag stage of the evening. And we're about to get set to go racing one more time for about 20 laps of green flag racing.
Give you a little fill-in here on the situation that we're looking at. We'll be real close on fuel. If I have my numbers right, I do indeed. Scheduled race end, lap 42. These drivers all pit on lap 26, though they have a lot of pacing after the fact. Pitting on 26 puts them just shy of being able to make it with a 14 to 15 lap fuel window. With these pace laps and maybe a little saving under green, I think it's possible, but it might just take that little nugget in your mind, little tiny bit of saving, something to just remember.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Arie, because last 2 stages we've seen Greg Mitchell open up, you know, anywhere between a 4 and a 6 or a 7-second gap to 2nd place. Does that gap close a little bit this time, as he maybe thinks about saving some fuel? At a road course, it's very easy to save fuel, a lot easier than an oval, I guess I would say.
Yeah, it very much is. You can do a lot of lift and coast on corner entry, especially with the gaps that you build to the cars in front of and behind you. You can kind of manage it a lot better. So we'll see what these drivers can do. But more than anything, I think somebody needs to beat Greg on the restart on the first lap. Somebody needs to go and take that track position to really make him go out there and kind of put him in his, get him out of his comfort zone. Rather, pace car is off. We're getting ready to pull into the restart zone for the final time. Greg Mitchell in control and Matt Semple trying to get there. Cody Gibson with a bump to the back, but it's not going to stick. Down into turn 1 we go.
Greg Mitchell under fire, the most pressure he's seen down into turn number 1 all night long, as he's got the 16 and the 1. The 1 and the 16 is going to have a debate over who's going to lead the field down into position number 2. As they come through turns 1 and 2 and head down into the infield of the Charlotte Roval. That wasn't the best start that we've seen from Greg Mitchell. of the night, but I think he got a little bit of a gimme there between the 16 and the 1 fighting position.
He certainly did. Cody Gibson went up there and made the most of it. He's going to take over second place. He was really good on the short run at the start of stage 2, looking really good at the start of stage 3 right here. We'll see what the 16 truck can do to kind of stay in touch right here. And we, of course, can't forget about Dustin Ping in the 81, who at one point at stage 2 drove all the way up to second place. So let's not forget about that 81.
On board here with the 16 of Matt Semple, as we have been multiple times out here through the night, and he's going to chase down Cody Gibson on the backstretch chicane there, not able to gain the advantage that he needed to. As we flip back here, we're going to take a look at some closer battles. Andrew Caldwell under fire from Tanner Marr. Tanner trying to pick up a couple of positions out here as they head down into the front stretch chicane, and Andrew's actually going to put the tires in the grass and have an issue on the front stretch for the 46.
That he is. He is definitely going to have to give up some time for that.
I've got a slowdown for the 4 of Tanner Marr, and I've got a slowdown for the 46 of Andrew Caldwell.
Man, that really hurt Andrew Caldwell, who not only lost track position, but also had to slow down from cutting the course. Drop Andrew Caldwell all the way back to P11. Again, he's going to have to take this position from Gary Bowman. A little bit of deja vu right there. Tanner Marr got away with that unscathed. He remains in P6 as we run.
This has not been the night that the 46 is out here this evening, as Andrew started in the top 5 running position, but has struggled to stay up there throughout the course of tonight's event. But Gary Bowman putting the heat on Mike Stuyvesant right now as Andrew Caldwell stops the bleeding of track position here in that 46, running directly behind the 8 and the 20.
That he does. Up front, we've got an interesting development here. Matt Semple's taken over second place, and here comes Ed Jurgen looking for that podium, but he's going to have to keep that truck straight. Brad Holmes going to look to the inside. A little bit of contact between the 00 and the 92. Move Brad Holmes up to P4, trying to capitalize on second and third place, battling each other. Here comes Tanner Marr further back. He's going to try and put the pressure on Ed Jurgen down into turn 17. The whole field bunching up from second place on back. Meanwhile, Greg Mitchell has already pulled 5 seconds out front.
Hey, and I tell you what, Arie, Ed Jurgen just said, "What just happened?" because he just got involved in a couple of different things. But yeah, I mean, that is not what Ed was looking to have happen, but these drivers all kept it clean, all kept it green out on track, maybe a little bit of fender rubbing here and there, but they were able to keep it clean with just 12 laps remaining in tonight's event.
But I tell you what, Tom, another thing that I'm catching wind of right here is that there was issues for Dustin Ping, who now finds himself back in P15 on track. Let's see if we can't find what happened here. I can't quite find the 81 car on this replay.
There he is.
There he is. I'm not sure. I can't quite switch to him. I don't know if you can. Not letting me for some reason. But the 81 went off track bad enough to fall out of the top 10 entirely. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, here we go. A little bit delayed. I'm not sure what happened to get him in that position. See if we can check this another time. Wow. Replay doesn't want to, apparently. I don't know what's going on.
There we go. Let's take one more look at it here. Coming through the front stretch chicane there. Dustin just gets the left sides on the rumble strips down there, and he's going to slide through the grass, and yeah, that's how you lose a couple of positions here, as he is now back in 18th place as they run currently.
And that was from 4th position as they were running at the time, so not what Dustin wanted to see, especially being a driver being close to making it on points into the playoffs. That's definitely going to hurt the 81, the exact thing he did not want to see. As the laps have ticked by, the battle for P2 has resolved itself. Matt Semple got that position. He is driven away from Cody Gibson, who has started to open the gap to Brad Holmes. The top 4 all getting spread out pretty good, but Brad Holmes back to Ed Jurgen, Tanner Marr, and the rest still something to keep an eye on. Closest battle on track at the moment, Jarrett Camilli down to the inside of Larry Bell. The 33 truck trying to take the position. He's going to get sideways on corner entry, loses the rear end just a little bit. He's going to keep it going, but he's going to have to give up that battle with Larry Bell. He's going to give up the spot to Logan Spencer, and he might even lose one more. Cherry on top is Eric Anderson in the 43, Dustin Ping in the 81, both looking to capitalize on the 33 truck, who's got to regroup, get back into that rhythm. Let's not forget Dustin Ping, a faster truck who had a spin earlier on in this stage, looking to make up some positions, getting back up into the running order of the field. A little bit further up, Mike Stuyvesant trying to hold on ahead of Andrew Caldwell. I got to stop clicking around to drivers, Tom, because I tell you what, I'm cursing every single one I click on.
I do think so, Arie, and I don't think these drivers appreciate it at sometimes, but yeah, they're going to come down here. Gary Bowman tries to take a look on the 20 of Mike Stuyvesant. I tell you what, Greg Mitchell has opened up a huge gap, but the battle from second through, I guess, 6th or 7th is all pretty close together here in stage number 3, as we see just 10 laps remaining in tonight's event from the Roval Rumble out here at Charlotte.
Yeah, this field has been putting on a pretty good show. If we just forget that Greg Mitchell is out there on track, it's a pretty good race, all things considered.
Absolutely, and Greg again trying to go for, what is it, 6 wins and
6 for 6
starts. So that would be a new Cyber Thunder Racing League record if Greg Mitchell is able to hang on to it out here tonight. So history on the line for the 55. The record was previously held, Arie, I will leave this one to you. Was it 3 for 3?
No, he's tied with the record right now at 5 for 5.
Okay.
The first driver to do it was Michael Berg back in the day. Earlier at Watkins Glen this season, Greg Mitchell tied the record, and now he's got the opportunity to be the sole holder.
Tell you what here, Arie, let's go on board here real quick with Greg Mitchell and just take a half a lap around the track here and see if we hear any fuel conservation from the 55. Remember, we were talking about the possibility of them maybe being a little bit close on fuel for stage number 3. Maybe a little bit late on the throttle there on the exit of the chicane. Nothing too crazy. He's in 3rd gear right now. He's about to switch into 4th gear, as he does right now, 140 plus miles an hour.
Based on what I'm seeing behind the wheel right here, I don't think Greg is fuel saving, especially with the downshifting, the engine braking he's using into the corners. I mean, the truck looks entirely under control, but I think more than anything, that's just Greg Mitchell at a road course.
Anderson goes around off the front of the 7. Issues for Eric Anderson. Let's take a look. We may have to back this up just a little bit to find this issue of the 43 and the 7. You see him coming out the exit of turn number 7 here in front of the 81. Does he just misjudge this and turn down? Yeah, Eric's just going to turn down and come across the nose of the 7. That's just a misjudgment there.
Certainly happens to the best of them, and it can be a little tricky going from road course to oval to road course to oval so many times a lap for so many laps. But Greg Mitchell out front, he continues to lead with 8 laps remaining, 6.5 seconds back to second place Matt Semple, who has got himself a comfortable gap ahead of Cody Gibson, currently holding on to that final podium position in P3.
Jason Raymond, biggest mover of the night so far in that red number 49 truck out here tonight, as he tries to chase down Tanner Marr for a 6th place running position and possibly a 6th place finish out here this evening, as he's going to come down into the backstretch chicane. He's got a little bit of distance between him and Andrew Caldwell directly behind him, and you got to go back a little bit further before you find Lee Campbell behind this little group here. But Jason maybe didn't get the qualifying effort that he wanted out here tonight, but you know, it's taken him about 30 laps or so, but he's able to find himself into a solid top 5 running position, as there's now issues for Steven Music, and I believe that may take Steven out of the race as he is now on pit road.
Ooh, looks like he might have had some issues going on with the car. Had to pull off and tow back to pit lane. War Music in the 09 has been racing that damaged car for much of the evening. Continuing to watch this battle right now with Jason Raymond, driver of the 49, trying to hold on ahead of a charging Andrew Caldwell, trying to make up some lost ground from earlier in the stage. That 46 truck is on a mission. He's going to get to the inside of Jason Raymond, going through NASCAR turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Looking for a run into that chicane. He's not even going to have to go side by side. Gets down into there nice and well, and now that 46 can set his sights on Tanner Marr ahead of him. Would be for P6 if he can get there. 7 laps to go, plenty of time. Looks like we've got more issues on track. This time it's going to be Logan Spencer. I'm not able to cue that one up myself.
In turn number 7 here, he's just going to throttle down and go around in front of the 7 of Paxton Frith as multiple drivers make their way around the 19. Single car incident, no additional cars involved in this incident here, but you just hear the throttle as he goes around. Maybe it was in the wrong gear there, possibly, from what I think we may have heard there.
Even in the right gear, very tricky when you're coming up onto the banking like that to go from a dead near stop all the way up to speed. So we see Andrew Caldwell still closing in on the 4 of Tanner Marr, that 46, just like we saw in stage 2. As the run goes on and those tires wear out, he's been stronger and stronger, able to make up more positions. I mean, realistically, Tom, the 46 can see Brad Holmes all the way up in P4, not that far away from him.
Yeah, and you got to think that the 46 is probably past the most trucks out here tonight, whether it's up or down for the 46. He's had some on-track incidents out here tonight for Andrew Caldwell, which is kind of uncharacteristic for a driver like Andrew, right? But every time he's lost a couple of spots, it's taken him a couple of laps, but he's been able to regain them. And that's got to be frustrating because at the end of the night, if he finishes 5th or 6th, you got to say, what could I have done?
Certainly the case for Caldwell. He looks to line this up, this pass on Tanner Marr. At the line, it's 5 laps to go. Still plenty of time around a road course. No pressure from behind for Caldwell. Up to this point, he made the move on Jason Raymond a couple of laps ago. The 49 is not closed in yet. Though Tanner Marr, being a teammate of Raymond, is probably going to do everything he can to hold off that 46 for the time being.
Caldwell still putting the pressure on the 4 of Tanner Marr as he may have an opportunity down here into turn number 7, the 180 hairpin, to get back up onto NASCAR 1 and 2. Looks like he's going to go a little bit wide and maybe try a crossover here to go down into the bus stop on the backstretch.
He might get it. Tanner Marr definitely wiggled the rear end just a little bit, trying to get the throttle down. That hurts the momentum all the way down this run right here, not just at the start of it. It's not going to be enough for Caldwell to feel comfortable sending it on the braking zone. We'll have an opportunity right here to kind of square up Tanner Marr. You see how he gets through that first part of the chicane so much better. If you sacrifice speed on the very first part of the chicane, you can make that exit a lot straighter. You can get on the gas a lot sooner, and that helps you all the way down this stretch right here. You want to be fast on exit more than anything, and that was a textbook example right there from Caldwell, where Marr kind of got into the chicane really hard. He had to take a wider exit.
Put Andrew Caldwell up into the top 6 running position as he's able to make his way around Tanner Marr with just 4 laps remaining out here tonight. Try to find other battles out here on the track right now. Philip Van Vliet, Gary Bowman, these drivers are going at it, following Mike Stuyvesant around as they run right now. Quiet night for a lot of these drivers out here tonight. Philip Van Vliet's going to close up onto the back of the number 8 machine of that Toyota Tundra that Gary runs and try to close the gap just a little bit more. Not going to be able to do it through turn 6.
Not quite yet, but still plenty of time to kind of line this pass up and get it done. And who knows, once you're in P11, anything can happen for that final spot on the top 10. Mike Stuyvesant not too far away from these two. Just in front as Philip Van Vliet lines it up. He's going to get to the inside of Gary through the turns 1 and 2 of the oval, down the backstretch. Give the spot to the lone Dutchman, who now sets sail on the top 10.
And now if you're Gary, you got to think that's pretty frustrating because you didn't really see that coming. And now Gary's going to maybe try to back up his corner here on the front stretch chicane to maybe undo that spot and take 11th place running position away from Philip Van Vliet. Again, probably a little bit too much distance here to make anything happen here.
It's definitely uncharacteristic, this performance we've seen out of Gary, given he's usually a really good road course racer, though the Charlotte Roval is definitely that road course, if there were any, in which you kind of throw the usual suspects and expectations out the window maybe just a little bit. You get drivers who are usually good, they might struggle a little bit. You get drivers who maybe struggle on road courses, they might do a little bit better at a place like the Roval, just given how different and how complex it is on its own. You see Mike Stuyvesant clipping the grass just a little bit, opens the door just a little bit more for Philip.
That is not what you want Philip Van Vliet to see, the lone Dutchman. You do not want to see any opportunity for passes here, and we may see one down here in turn number 7 as Phil Van Vliet within a half a car length of the 20 on the entry of turn number 7. He's going to get all the way to the back bumper of the 20, but the 20 of Mike Stuyvesant going to be able to pull away and hammer down on NASCAR 1 and 2.
Rear end stepping out just a little bit, but not enough for Philip to close that gap down this long run into the backstretch chicane. We go. Issues for Eric Anderson as we're watching that battle. Driver 43 currently in the playoff picture, having issues tonight. Oh, right up and over the turtles. Kept it out of the outside wall, thankfully.
Battle happening towards the back of the field here. Amanda Sherman under fire from Logan Spencer as we see just 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks over the speedway from the Roval Rumble 200 out here tonight. Amanda Sherman trying to hold off Logan Spencer for 17th place as these drivers enter into the backstretch chicane for the penultimate time out here tonight. Logan's going to get a pretty good run on the exit of the backstretch chicane. Now take a look down onto the inside and make the pass on Amanda Sherman. Put Logan Spencer up to 17th.
Another pass in the books further up the field. Andrew Caldwell working over Brad Holmes into the hairpin. Brad Holmes is going to fight back. He is going to cut that hairpin about as hard as you can, and somehow that works out very well for double-double in the double-zero. Brad Holmes, he's going to hold on to P4, but while we were away, Andrew Caldwell's gone by Ed Jurgen. He is now level where he started this race and looking for one more before it's all over.
That one more is with Brad Holmes directly in front of him as we see the white flag with Greg Mitchell coming across the start-finish line. We're going to get up to the race leader as Greg enters into the infield portion of this track. Greg again looking to go 6 for 6 on a road course out here tonight, undefeated in his road course attempts out here tonight. This is something special that very few, no other drivers actually, Arie, have even had the opportunity to say that they've done.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of record that it seems so unreal that you've got to wonder, will anyone ever have the opportunity to try and beat it again? Greg Mitchell's 6 for 6 at road courses here. We're trying to hop around, keep an eye on all of the battles going on here on the white flag lap around the track, despite Greg Mitchell's dominating performance right here. We've got Brad Holmes trying to hold on to P4. We got Ed Jurgen trying to hold on to P6. A little further back through the hairpin we go. How does Caldwell line this one up? Trying to get to that rear bumper, maybe make him slide a little. He does. Can Caldwell capitalize? He's going to have a huge run down the back straightaway right here. He does have to give up a little bit of time from being slightly out of bounds on that corner. We'll see what that 46 manage is through the chicane right here, but I think Brad Holmes has probably done enough at this point to get there, and all the while...
Andrew Caldwell's got a very straight shot on the exit of the backstretch chicane there, Arie. He may have one more opportunity at it.
He might be... I think he's gotten a little too far back, but I tell you who might? Tanner Marr and Ed Jurgen going at it. Final chicane, final corner. Tanner Marr's off the track. He's going to lose that position. He crosses the line with a time penalty. We'll see if that affects the 4 cars finishing spot. It doesn't look like it. This is a... That's an interesting finish to a race. By the way, Greg Mitchell won this race. Big winner on the day, record breaker. As crazy as the finish was, trying to watch all of the battles, he has done it, folks. Clean sweep on the season. 3 for 3 road courses for our points leader, Greg Mitchell. Certainly stamping his name as the championship favorite at this point in the 2025-2 season. Breaks the record, 6 for 6 undefeated on road courses here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. A stat that I know all too well, having lost out to Greg on 4 of those 6 wins myself. 3 or 4 of them, one of the 2. But nonetheless, driver 55 goes out and gets it done yet again. Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, they round out the podium drivers who we are going to speak to.
It looks like we've got our 3rd place finisher. That is going to be Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson, a little bit better than a top 6 finish out here tonight. You come home 3rd on the board. Driver out of Colorado, Tom and Arie up in the booth. How you doing tonight, sir?
Very excited, I can say that.
I tell you what, we were watching the battles between you and Matt and Brad, and at times Dustin up there as well. And tonight you come home 3rd. Kind of bring us through your thought processes to what you thought was going to be another road course race out here. Tonight you've run a little bit better than maybe what you were expecting to.
Oh, a lot better than I expected to. I came into it just like I come into any road course. Try not to get any incidents and stay on track. And I guess patience, being slower is faster, I guess. I don't know.
As long as you keep it on the pavement, a lot of times that will win. It's kind of like the old tortoise and the hare story that we've heard 1,000 times. But tonight you come in 2nd in the points, and you and Greg have kind of been flip-flopping the top spot on the power rankings. You come into tonight, it looks like you're going to be
staying in 2nd.
Staying in 2nd. Yeah, I was looking for the actual total here. It looks like you were about 70 points back off of Greg Mitchell, but all of our road courses are done here, Cody. Now we move into your specialty. We move into the oval portion of the schedule. The next 7 or 8 races are all ovals, beginning with Talladega next week for the regular season cutoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's my specialty, what you call the cookie cutters. I mean, the super speedway, anybody has a chance to win. It's basically try to survive and work with your teammates when you can. So, coming in here, getting a 3rd, very surprised. I think I could have had something from Matthew, but in the last, 7 or 8 laps, I was having a problem with my shifter. I had to double upshift every time I wanted to get into the next gear. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I think that kind of slowed me down. And after that, I seen how far I think Brad was behind me, and I just rode there and just try to keep a simple pace and not do anything stupid. And I just let Matthew get away from me. But all in all, I mean, this is a win in my book. I don't care what Greg says.
And you know what? Hey, there's nothing wrong with saying 3rd place is a win, because I would probably be saying the same thing. But Cody, taking a look at the upcoming Scrambler Series, a series that is unforgiving of anybody. We have Atlanta, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 2008 version, Kentucky, Richmond, Pocono, Texas, Michigan, and then finally we close out the season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Any of those tracks you're already thinking, I need to do some extra practice here this week?
Probably Texas out of all of them, man. I will say if I make it to the last race for the championship, I'm going to have to practice Charlotte, because I cannot get into turn 1 and get off turn 2 at that track for some reason. I struggle, so I'm gonna do some extra laps, try to figure it out, see what I'm doing wrong, work with my teammates if we get there, and hopefully I make it. But like you said, the Scrambler Series, you never know. You could have one bad race and you're knocked out, but then you got the redemption round, and it better pay off.
Well, you are officially locked into the Scrambler Series as of last week, but tonight. So next week you can go into Talladega without many worries, and you can kind of just coast through there and kind of take some risks that maybe you wouldn't normally take. But Cody Gibson going to finish third out here tonight. Cody, Mr. Gibson, we're going to open the floor for anybody you want to say hello to, anybody you want to say thank you to back here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. The floor is all yours.
Oh, you two up there in the booth. I know y'all would much rather be driving than broadcasting. I appreciate everything y'all do. So whether the people watching live can go back and watch it, or the people on the track can watch it the next day or the after the race. And all my Five King Motorsports teammates, U.S. Firearms, I'd say congrats, Greg. Good job, Matthew, and thank you.
All right, well, that is the third place finisher out here tonight, Cody Gibson. Perhaps get to talk to him again next week, and I believe my my co-host and my partner, Arie Heinzman, has got Matt Semple.
That I do. Runner-up in tonight's event, Matt Semple in the 16. Somewhat of a familiar story here, having seen it in qualifying Stage 1 and Stage 2, but it didn't look like that was going to be the case at all points throughout the race. Matt, you had to fend off challenges from the likes of Cody Gibson. You have to fend off from even Dustin Ping at points in the race as well. You were able to keep your head down, keep consistent, and find yourself in P2 by the end of it. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, it was a good qualifying attempt from the start there, so good track position. And then just really tried to be smooth and consistent all race. I know it's very easy. The track temps were really hot tonight, so it was really easy to spin the tires and then get them worn out super early in the run. So I was just trying to be nice and smooth, consistent, and yeah, just take care of my stuff. And was, hoping obviously that Greg would have an issue. That I could get up there with him, but I mean he was on another planet today, so I mean he's got fast, so it's just I don't know, when I got past guys, I think I dropped back to fourth at one point, when I kind of made my way back up through them, got lucky a couple times, guys would get loose on corner exit and I could just drive kind of below them. Just main goal was to keep them behind me and just not overdrive the corners.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I know the pain of hoping Greg is going to slip up and doesn't end up slipping up, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I tell you what, you're putting yourself in a really good position momentum-wise entering the Scrambler Series playoffs, and, maybe arguably the biggest factor when it comes to this crazy Scrambler Series that we're going to be running is consistency and just racking up those top 5s, top 3s. Maybe you're not winning every week, but you're always up there, you're always in the conversation, and more importantly, you're always beating most of the playoff competition on a week-in, week-out basis. How's that have you feeling getting ready to go playoff time?
Yeah, I mean, it's good, the momentum we've been building. Like, again, not to sound cocky or anything like that, but I really think this truck has top 5 speed, maybe top 10 speed every week. It's just we had some early mistakes in the season there, and it really hurt us. So now that we're kind of getting on a bit of a roll here with good finishes, let's just hope we can keep that going and just no more mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Matt, next week in the regular season finale, we go to Talladega, and if I'm not mistaken, you are already mathematically locked into the playoffs. So come next week at Talladega, is it checkers or wreckers?
Yeah, it'll probably be checkers or wreckers, or maybe help some teammates out if they need help points wise or whatnot. But yeah, we'll be going for it if we're locked in for sure. We'll try and get another win here. It'd be nice to get one season that I'm here, multi-win season. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's what I like to hear. Well, we'll open up the floor to you before we send you away. Any shout-outs, hays, highs, and thank yous?
Yeah, shout out to my friends and family for watching. My mom and dad. I'd like to shout out my smoking hot wife, who, God bless her soul, let me race. It's my anniversary today, so she let me race. Sad couldn't bring home the win, but I guess second's the next best thing. And thanks to my daughter Margot for letting me do this. And Alto
All right.
Construction, if you need any construction or sewer, sanitary, anything like that done in the Orangeville area, call them up. They're your guys.
There we go. Didn't have to get on you about your sponsor. All right, well, happy anniversary to you, Matt. We'll send you down to celebrate with the team. And with that, I do believe Greg Tom is caught up with our race winner.
That I have, Arie, and a new record out here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League is solely held by the driver number 55. That is Greg Mitchell. 6 for 6 on road courses, Greg. Got to start to think you got a target on your back here at the road courses. How was your night?
Yeah, I guess I'll take the target. It's a good problem to have, I guess. So I've been liking the road courses. I tried to throw one away at Watkins Glen, but luckily was able to get back and keep the streak going. So glad to still be here. The night was good. I guess I couldn't have gone any better. Pole didn't have to pass anybody except on the restarts and keep my lead. So I can't complain about that. I know there were some rough battles going on right behind me, especially where the restarts start, so I was glad to not be in that mess.
Yeah, now let's talk about the difference of the challenges. So the 3 road courses that we've seen this season, Greg, we've seen Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and then finally the 3rd and final road course, some people would say, thankfully, final road course of the season, and that is at the Charlotte Roval. I guess I'll open it this way, Greg. Who was your biggest competitor through these 3 road courses this season that you're keeping an eye on for next season and beyond, as the next person to possibly dethrone you as the road course king of Cyber Thunder Racing League?
I would have to say Semple's probably the guy, because he's finished second several times. I could think of, what was it, Canadian Tire last season, Watkins Glen here, and maybe Sonoma. I don't remember where he finished in Sonoma, but he's always running pretty good. I gotta hit my marks if I want to kind of pull away from him. So I think he's closing the gap. He's running really solid. I was watching him in practice, and he's really smooth, which is key on the road courses. Being smooth on entry and smooth on exit, those are the 2 things that are going to save your tires. So he's really good on that. So I'd say he's the guy to watch. And Cody always runs good every week on the ovals, and he had a nice top 3 today. So who knows? He might be closing the gap as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I talked to Cody Gibson just a couple of minutes ago. He finished 3rd out here tonight. As we see your truck blowing up, that's going to cost some money out here tonight. But
that's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. But when you win, I mean, you can afford those. You can afford an engine replacement. But so Cody, Greg, we were just talking to Cody a couple of minutes ago. Now we're going in. We just finished our final road course race of the season. Now we're going into the great unknown of Talladega. You're mathematically locked in. That allows you some more leeway. But going into the Scrambler Series, I talked to Cody Gibson a moment ago. Very unforgiving. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't matter how many wins you have on the season. Talk us through your mindset of what your approach is going to be going into the playoffs and the Scrambler Series here, beginning on December 30th.
I don't know, man. That's going to be kind of feel it out once I'm in the mindset, because I don't really want to change the mindset. I think you want to race for wins every week. But the overall big picture is going for the title, so you kind of want to stay safe at the same time. But I think just trying to stay at least up towards the front where it's a little bit safer for the most part, usually, unless we're racing hard, to just get yourself to advance. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the mindset is. I think each race is going to have its own challenges based off what's going on and pit strategies, and if you got damage or not. I mean, I don't know. So just advance. That's the key.
Just be faster than the other drivers. That's the goal in the Scramble Series. And well, Greg, by my math, and you know I'm bad at math here, but by my math, it sounds like you've locked up the regular season championship after the win out here tonight. It looks like you're going to be about 70 or something points above second place. So now you're going to have that buffer of knowing that the first race at Atlanta Motor Speedway that you've got an exemption from elimination from the Scrambler Series as the regular season champion. So that kind of sets the tone for your playoff hopes as you try to go for your first championship out here tonight. And I guess, Greg, we're going to open up the floor for you. Anybody you want to thank, say hello to on the side of that number 55 truck with another win out here tonight in the Cyber Thunder Racing League.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks. I don't have a lot to stress about points-wise, so can race pretty free. That'll be kind of fun. But thanks to you and Arie for running an awesome broadcast every single week. Can't compliment you guys enough at the job you guys do. Thanks to Lee for sponsoring tonight, and shout out to my dad who's always watching.
All right, well, we saw your dad back out there at the Better Half Dash a couple of weeks ago, but Greg, congratulations once again on a win out here tonight. 6 for 6, the sole record holder of the road courses in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. And Arie, you know, that's something that this is one of those moments that we don't know is ever going to be replicated ever again.
Yeah, it's a special moment indeed. Driver of the 55 going 6 for 6 at road courses. You know, once upon a time when I was pretty new to the league, I thought, if anything, I might have a shot to go on a road course winning streak. And then a driver like Greg showed up, and lo and behold, look what he accomplished here. But, I mean, he even mentioned it, you know, last road course we went to at Watkins Glen, he had a speeding penalty and just about lost a win on that race, if not for the final, 3 or 4 laps at the very end of it. So he could have very well lost it on something as simple as a speeding penalty, and really that's all it takes. These road courses can be really chaotic. They've got crazy turn ones. You gotta nail pit road. There's so many factors, so to have it go right, to have that much speed, to hold off the competitors 6 times out of 6 is incredibly impressive, and it's very possible that we don't see this again.
And racing is the only sport, the sole sport out there where your competitors kind of determine whether or not those records are found or not, as they have the option, or they have the ability to end your night out there, unlike other sports. But Greg Mitchell comes home with the win, 6 for 6 on road courses, and takes the sole record of road course victories out here tonight. Matt Semple's going to come home second place out here tonight. Thought maybe he would have had one more spot better possibly for a win, but Matt Semple comes home in second, and Cody Gibson, the podium that we just spoke to, rounds out the top 3, followed by Brad Holmes, who's in 4th, Andrew Caldwell. Ed Jurgen has a solid night out here tonight, followed by Tanner Marr, Jason Raymond, Lee Campbell, and then finally Mike Stiverson in 10th.
Just outside of the top 10, it's the lone Dutchman. Philip Van Vliet comes home in 11th ahead of Gary Bowman in P12. Dustin Pink falls to P13 by the end of it. Larry Bell in 14th, and Paxton Frith rounds out the top 15. Jarrett Camilli in 16th ahead of Logan Spencer, who comes home 17th. Amanda Sherman in the 88 is 18th. Eric Anderson in 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Nathan Dufton.
Couple of drivers who looks at better nights out here tonight than they did. Steven Music's going to come home 21st on the board, followed by Chris Letts in the 65. And then did not take a lap out here tonight is the 24 of Frank DiMaggio, as the field of 23 drivers begins to make their way out of America's Home for Racing. And, well, I guess we don't have too far of a way to go to our next race here, Arie, next week on Tuesday. We're going to be at the Great Unknown of Talladega Superspeedway, where we're going to determine our playoff standings.
Looking forward to it, Tom. I will see you down in Alabama, and get ready to set up our playoff grid.